Hello again, everybody. It's Harry Boxer, the Technical Trader. It's Wednesday, March the 21st, and these are the charts of the day. I'm going to show you some longs and shorts. Market had a strange day today. At the end of the day, they rolled them over. Let's see what it does tomorrow. Anyway, on the long side, CLNE, which may very well be overbought and ready for a pullback. You can see it's gone from 11 and change to nearly 25 in the last 90 days. And with this channel in force here, top of that channel was hit today, and it backed off nearly a point. So we'll see if there's a reversal here. If you look at the weekly chart on CLNE, you'll see that major all-time high territory up here. This recent high, at least the high from 2010, around 2390 was taken out today with that thrust. So we'll have to just see whether there's any additional follow-through and keep track of it for you. But I prefer, if you're going to be interested in CLNE, to wait to see what happens here, whether it gets a pullback or not. Gale, G-A-L-E, also at the top of the channel. I wanted to point that out to you. We showed you the 1, 2, 3, 4 wave, 5-wave move, and then it pulled back. And yet that entire move held the moving averages from a little wedge in here, and it broke out yesterday, which we showed you. What a follow-through day today, up 82 cents or 42% on a whopping 23.5 million shares, the biggest volume ever traded. Usually, after a big move like that and a spike up like that in heavy volume, we often see the stock come to a short-term peak. And it very well may be similar to this, where it's going to need to do some consolidations in the zone. Glue may be on the verge of making a move. Let me show you. The stock moved out across the wedge line today, top of the line here, and needs to really get over this recent spike high around 432. We got up to 423 today. And should we get through 432 at volume, I think we can take a run at the 465 area and then a move towards the 5.5 level or so, or maybe more, could be in play. We'll have to just see. But this is a nice run up to resistance, pull back to support, bounce around for a month and consolidate, get narrow, and then finally today on 3.6 million shares, up almost 5%. INXN. I know that some of you have been watching this stock, a fairly new issue. I think it only goes back to, that's right, last February. So it's about a year old. Now you can see how it came down hard in August, moved back up, and retested here, broke out and pulled back not only to the price line, but also the 50-day moving average. Reversed, flagged for 3 days, and they popped out. What I like about today's action is it moved across that line. But let's see if you can get over the spike high of 1716. And if that does occur, I would look for an extension up towards about 18.5 or more, maybe 19. LGF, what a move based on the Hunger Games. Lionsgate's been doing phenomenally, and if you take a look at the move after this consolidation November, December, ever since this year began, when the stock was about 840, we've nearly doubled. And you can see after the consolidation in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-way little consolidation mode here, right here, we broke out 2 days ago, which I highlighted, yesterday again, which I highlighted, and then today again. You can see that the stock is in a position where it very well may extend a little bit higher and get up towards 17 before it's all over, or at least before it hits the top of the channel. Strong momentum, biggest volume I've ever seen in the stock, nearly 14 million traded today. MTOR, that's Meritor, an auto parts company. You can see that the big move down from the low 20s into the mid-single digits was finally reversed, and the stock's moved in an uptrend. There is a zone of resistance up around 9.5 to 10, which I'm looking for my short-term target, especially after today's breakthrough. That line, a pop of 94 cents or 12.6%. Its volume increased to 4 million. That's the biggest volume in about 6 weeks. So good stuff there technically. PCYC, I wanted to point this out because it's been one of my favorite stocks all year. Great chart. It's moved from the let's call it under 5, 4 3/4 to 28. How about that? Just since about the last 12 months. So a nice move there. And in the last 4 or 5 weeks, it's been coiling. Today it broke out. Up $1.71, 6.5%, more than a million traded. My target now, 35. And that's the swing trade, so we may very well see that. RT, nice pop today as RT popped through key resistance. That's Ruby Tuesday, the chain. After a big move down from the mid-teens down to the mid-single digits, in the last several months it's based out. You can see these multiple tops were broken today with a thrust. Volume increased to 1.3 million, that's the biggest volume since October, and a clean breakout. Next, I would expect to run up towards this $10 range, which is the gap. That would be my next trading target. CEVA software. Well, clean rising channel. Perhaps I was remiss by not recommending it when it broke out right here around the 8 3/4 range. You can see it's moved up to 12.5 or more, and before pulling back, consolidating, forming a little inverse head and shoulders, and today broke out up 49 cents, 4%, nearly a million traded. That's the biggest volume in 6 weeks too. My target 14.5, 15. SAI broke out, but didn't have a great close. But I did want to point out to you the nice breakout of this beautiful base. After a big move down from the high teens to the near $10 range, the stock based out for the last 6 months. Now today it popped sharply, but it didn't, as I said, didn't close well. And as a result, well, let me get rid of this for you. You can see the pop through here. We want to see whether it holds today's low around 1340.50 zone. And if it can, it starts to move up again tomorrow. Watch for the takeout of 1420. If that occurs, I would look for this stock to make it up to try to test this 1520 area and then maybe beyond. SWI, well, also one of my favorite stocks for this year. After this falling wedge broke out, the stock's been moving nicely higher. It formed a wedge, and this one too broke out of the wedge, very much like PCYC today. Traded 1.6 million nearly, and it was up $1.61 at 4.25%. More importantly, it broke out. If you can get above this line right here, I'm looking for a move to about 45 short term. Sync, recent new issue. Citicor, upgraded by 3 or 4 firms today, did very well. Key breakout across this little consolidation with a breakaway gap. I think it could still run a little bit more. I'd look for something close to 8 on it. And lastly is USG, which tagged 1944. The swing trade worked out beautifully as it moved from 14.5 to 19.5 almost in just the last week and a half. But now it's at the top of the channel and at lateral price resistance. And at this point, I would say a tad overbought. Volume was heavy today at 9.6 million. That's the heaviest volume in months, years. So could be coming to a short-term peak. Notice that this peak right here is near the 2011 high up around 1954. So today's high was a tad higher than that, but right at it, and it closed at 19 even. Now that's it for the longs. Let's take a look at some of the shorts. You'll see that, hang on one moment, alphabetically, APEI, still this head and shoulders type top, which broke here, has been followed by this bear flag type action. Notice that the highs of the last 6 of the last 7 days have been all holding underneath 40. Seems to be short-term resistance for sure. If it rolls over out of this pattern, watch for a spike down that takes it down towards 35 short-term. CEVA. Well, the stock moved and tagged 51.62, just a tad above this line here. So we're testing these lows. Now, if you step back and look at the overall pattern on CEVA, you see a big, massive down channel formed. At this point, I would look for a move down to the mid-40s if it does take out this low here, as the down channel is still in force, and that would be a test of that level. That was ATK, by the way, sorry. CEVA, C-E-V-A, may be rolling over from a massive head and shoulders top here. Take a look. And today was down 41 cents, or about a little less than 2%, but you can see it's right on that line. And should we break here, keep an eye on CEVA for a short opportunity, as it could very well plunge into the mid-teens, at least the high teens for starters. CRR, Carbo Ceramics, dropped 6.5 points today as it ran up to the line, started to back away yesterday, and today plunged at one point down nearly 10, closing 3.5 points off the low, but still we may very well see a test of 85.6 before not too long. Gardner Denver got slam dunk for 6 points today, or 8.5%, 3.7 million, heavy volume on the downside. Note that the down channel, which remained in force, and the lateral price resistance, which held it back here, Began the rollover 2 days ago and accelerated down today. Now, maybe some additional downside, but there is support around 62 just below here. If that is broken, though, we could see 58. RealPage is on key support here. Triple bottom here, double bottom there. If this stock takes out 18, 18 and a quarter, we could see it down at 15 pretty quickly down around here. South Jersey Industries also completed a top formation, in my opinion, and then formed a little bear flag. Note that the lows here for several days now have tried to hold the 50.5 area. Should that be broken, I would look for a quick test of this low around 47.5. So look for a quick 3 points to the downside, maybe more. And lastly, today's WBMD, which I showed you yesterday. Still, this bear flag is intact. And should it break, it could break hard. Now that the declining moving average, the 50-period moving average is coming down to meet it, I suspect it may fail and roll over and test the 21 area. That's my target for it. And that's it for today. You guys have a good evening. We will talk to you again tomorrow night.